Hi, I'm Mike Freeman from Shopify. Today I'll be talking to Gary Vaynerchuk about his latest book, The Thank You Economy. This interview is part of our Build a Business contest. You can find out more about it at shopify.com/contest. It's a great way to open up an e-commerce store, and the store with the most sales wins some really amazing prizes. In addition, right now we're giving away a one-on-one power session with Gary Vaynerchuk to one lucky Shopify store owner. That means a one-on-one Skype call with Gary to talk about anything you'd like and soak up all the great advice that you can. Head on over to shopify.com/blog to find out more about the Gary Vaynerchuk Power Session contest. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and let's get on with it. Hi, Mike Freeman here again with the Build a Business series of videos, and I'm back once again with Gary Vaynerchuk, and today we're going to talk about his latest book, The Thank You Economy, and kind of what tools and strategies you can take away from that to help with your e-commerce business. Welcome, Gary. How are you today?
I am absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Great. Well, for those who haven't read The Thank You Economy yet, can you let me know just a little bit about it and why it's so important for business owners to read it?
Well, first of all, I'm very angry to anybody who's watching this right now and hasn't read The Thank You. Mike, I think, why is it important? I feel like there's not a lot of people. I got a better answer. I built a $60 million business before I ever cared about social media. Mm-hmm. I come from a business place, right? Ultimately, why would you read a book? I think you've got to really support the author. The author is the content. I think what's made me relevant is I think business first. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm in love with the romance of what social media is, but the fact of the matter is this is business for me. Mm-hmm. This isn't. I'm not doing this because I want to, kumbaya and we're all going to save the world. I respect saving the world, changing the world. What I really want to do is build business, I feed off of that. I am the consummate salesman. Mm-hmm. I sell. The fact that I believe in these thank you economy principles is a very big indicator. The fact that I'm willing to be more patient, the fact that I'm converting from being a hare into a tortoise, the fact that I'm doing this is because it's becoming the platform and the landscape of business. I wrote this book because I fundamentally believe that every single person who watches this video will be affected by the concepts and the growth and maturity of the internet itself. That's all that's going on with social media. It's the maturity of the internet itself. And I feel like the way to do business is different than it used to be. Mm-hmm. And so I talk a lot about those concepts. I give some case studies, and I try to attack why I believe this is happening and where it's going. I believe that one-on-one marketing is here. Mm-hmm. I think that's scary because it's not scalable. Mm-hmm. But I think it is scalable. When we stop when we stop spending money on dumb shit, mm-hmm. and we start investing it into our customers and doing one-on-one marketing, I think that's when we're going to start feeling and seeing a lift.
Okay, great. So a lot of people see social media and they get a little scared by it, and you go through kind of some of the roadblocks in the book that stop people from using social media to full effect and kind of the answers to those roadblocks. I'd like to touch on a couple of them that really apply to smaller business and get your thoughts. One of the first arguments that people make is that there's no measurement in social media. Where's the ROI? Where's the short-term payback? How do you counter that argument?
It's so funny when you ask that question. I'm sitting here thinking I never do counter the argument. To be honest with you, Mike, I really don't. I'm not really interested in the argument. Meaning, I kind of like that people think that. Mm-hmm. If you want me to be blunt, and I like being blunt,
really,
I'm excited that the people that are watching this are smart enough to realize there's something there, and I like fewer smart people involved in social. It's more of a land grab for me. I mean, the counter argument is I've heard this argument about e-commerce when I launched WineLibrary.com. I've heard this argument about search engines. I've heard this argument about banner ads. I've heard this argument about everything. This is how we always argue. I've heard this about the web itself. Do you remember how many people, Mike, said the internet was a fad?
Yeah, totally, and that regular people would never actually use it.
Or I remember people telling me nobody's ever going to put a credit card into a computer. They don't trust it.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand why people don't think there's measurement in ROI, but But I know there is because I look at it from a wine library standpoint. We have a $60 million a year wine business, and I know exactly what's going on. We have a thank you department. We follow tweets and Facebook status updates. We can see where the traffic comes through. We know what the conversion is. Mm-hmm. And the only thing that people don't like is it's hard work. Social's hard. You have to care first. You have to invest. People don't want to invest. People want to win the lotto.
Yeah.
Quick
win.
Quick. People want to score. People don't want to get married. They want to hook up for the night, right? Yeah. And so that's it, and that's fine, and that's the way I want it to be because that's more for me. There's tons of ROI measurement. I sent a tweet in 2009 that said free shipping to winelibrary.com after I built up a huge audience. I only had 80,000 people at that point, but I had context with them that converted better, and we got more codes from that one tweet than we did from the $25,000 I spent on billboards, radio, and print combined.
Wow.
So I don't know, what's that called? That's called ROI.
That's called ROI for sure. Another thing that maybe, I don't know if it worries people as much as maybe they just don't know what to do is social media seems like a trendy thing. First of all, there was MySpace, and even before that, other sites, and then it became Facebook, Twitter, now we have Google+. But in the book, you talk about really getting in there and being an early adopter of those technologies. And it's not necessarily that you're marrying your strategy to that one particular platform. Do you want to maybe talk about how why it's important to be on the different platforms if it applies to your business?
Sure. So my thought on this is kind of like vacationing. Have you ever met anybody at a conference or on a vacation that you became friendly with?
Yes, of course.
And so you might have met in Vegas at a tech conference, but you're now still friends and getting value out of that relationship when you're back at your home and this person's back in Peru, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Facebook and Twitter and Friendster and MySpace and Plurk and Sprouter and whether they come and go, Google+, Tumblr, the next thing, majabagadaga.org that we're all part of in 4 years. I don't care. It's a platform where I can meet somebody. The context and the value is in the relationship I make there. And when we all move up, I have 30,000 followers on Google+ in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Not because I'm rocking it on Google+, but because my relationships went there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter where you have the relationship. The top 100 people followed on on Google Plus, on that stats right now.
Yeah.
It's the same list that was Twitter 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The relationships come with you. If you had a next door neighbor for 20 years and you were best friends and then you moved to Tampa, Florida, you still have that relationship. You still send Christmas cards. You still get together for dinner twice a year. You still talk on the phone once a month. Mm-hmm. Relationships don't go anywhere. That's the equity we're trying to build. Don't be scared where you make them.
Yeah, so it's not about the platform, it's about the relationship.
Of course.
Cool. Let's see here. Given everything else that needs to be done, how do you? I know you mentioned that you have kind of a thank you department and that sort of thing. So you really put that kind of at the top of your important things to get done first.
You mean from a business standpoint?
Social media.
Yeah, we just launched that for Wine Library. We're just getting full pledge because it takes time, right? You got to justify the costs. I understand where everybody's coming from on all that stuff. From my standpoint, I believe that social media is the steak, and I truly believe most people think it's the salt and pepper. I think most people watching right now believe whatever they're selling, whether it's a watch, whether it's a soda, whether it's, an iPad. I feel that everybody thinks that's the steak, right? That's their business. I think social media is the business. I think relationships with customers is the business, and what we sell is the salt and pepper. So I spend an ungodly amount of time engaging because that's building the context, and then when I need to activate that audience, they're there for me, and that's what matters to me at the end of the day.
Cool. I think a lot of our entrepreneurs, they kind of try and act like big companies, especially when they're starting their first business, and they see what the big guys, the Fords, those type of companies, how they speak. But you talk a lot about being authentic, and do you think that smaller companies can actually take advantage from being smaller and being more authentic?
100,000%. Big companies have terrible brand equity. Yes, but here's what I think. Like, I think when you're big, you got to try to act small. When you're small, you got to try to act big. It's a balance, right?
Yeah.
I think this should be authentic, but it doesn't hurt to seem a little bit bigger than you are. Perception is reality. Fake it until you make it. All these principles, I understand them. They have value. Nothing is black and white. I'm a big fan of traditional media. I believe in newspapers and radio and print. I really do. The prices are wrong. The pricing is wrong in 2011.
Yeah.
But I believe in them because there's eyeballs. Because people read the newspaper, not the next generation, but the active generation. There's something a 30-year-old does now that a 15-year-old is laughing at.
Yeah. Totally. All right. How important is scalability when it comes to implementing some of these thank you economy tactics, and what can people do to kind of find ways to scale what they're doing?
I think it's important. I think that's why you're able to make an account for your name and your logo. You should do both if you want to build your personal brand for your company and your company. But if you don't want to do a personal brand play, it's far more important that the logo is in play, right? At, Happy Coffee Company, because the logo can scale. Because as you grow and this becomes more important, you can hire 30 people to be the voice of that. Yeah. Nobody has ever tweeted or answered one of my emails, Mike. It has never happened. It has never happened because I'm a human being and that's not authentic. Now, Wine Library, we have a staff who does that. That's not me. It doesn't say it's me. That's how I view it.
Okay. And even as you scale like that, I know you talk in the thank you economy about the importance of the CEO or the president of the company fully buying into that mentality of the thank you economy. So I guess as you scale, the important thing is to really be 100% into it and then letting your employees see that and do it themselves?
Absolutely. Nothing works when it's not coming from the top. A fish stinks from the top, from the head, or whatever they say. It's true. When there's support at the highest level, you're not worrying about the politics. And the politics is what kills bigger companies and smaller big companies. A lot of people watching now are 1 or 2 person teams. They don't have to worry about that. They're worried about how do I get this all done while I sell stuff, while I do this, you've got to balance everything. There's probably a lot of entrepreneurs doing this that are doing this, but also have a full-time job. So they're doing this from 6 p.m. till 2 in the morning. So in running that company, when do they have time to do social media, which is a tortoise play, not a hare play, which is why it breaks down. But just a couple minutes each day. It's kind of like working out. You can't work out for an hour each day? Good, work out for a half an hour each day. You can't work out for a half an hour? Work out for 5 minutes. But guess what? It's kind of like push-ups, right?
Yeah.
If I do 100 push-ups a day, I'll have the guns. Now, clearly, as you can see, I don't do 100 push-ups a day. But if I did 15, I'd get more than 0. And that's how I social. What you put in is what you get.
Okay, great. Well, thanks a lot, Gary, for sitting down with us and talking today about the thank you economy. If you haven't purchased that book yet, you can hit up Amazon.com or your favorite book retailer to pick it up. Or you can enter our Build a Business contest by opening up a Shopify store, and we'll send you a copy of Gary's book for free.